I was counting the cinder blocks, so I just told a lady on the phone, I was like, I don't know, it's like 12 cinder blocks tall. What does that mean? And she was just like, oh, that's probably about 12 feet. And then after I hung up the phone with her and everything, I was like, this is not 12 feet.
It's not a bird, it's not a plane, it's Superhero Slate. It's a modern podcast where we talk about everything that's great, like movies, TV, superheroes. It's Superhero Slate, oh yeah.
Hello everyone and welcome to Superhero Slate, the show where we run down the latest superhero entertainment news.
We love TV, movies, and superheroes, so let's talk it all out.
My name is Chris Dillard.
And my name is Mike Royer.
And this week we're dying to see the Suicide Squad movie.
Oh, dying.
Yeah, it's in the tagline. Anyway, we'll talk about it later. Black Widow is officially going to Disney Plus, Mike.
Asterisks and theaters.
Yeah, thank God. Well, thank God though. They finally caved in to what everyone has been wanting for a little over a year and a half now. So you know, we got that. MODOK is getting a pretty good voice cast, and we're gonna talk about voice cast today and more.
Yeah, I mean, another week down, another week going. I feel like we're starting to see light at the end of the tunnel. We're seeing lots of news of, movies getting shifted and rescheduled. It's starting to feel like there's some normalcy at the end of the tunnel here. I mean, every state's been different with the vaccine rollout, but California just announced that everyone above the age of 16 qualifies for a vaccine starting April 15th, I think it is. So I mean, that's a big threshold right there. So I mean, if everything can get organized, people can start getting vaccinated, we might be able to hit these premiere dates in the theaters IRL AFK, Chris. So let's see if that can happen.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I get my second one actually on the 14th, the day before you guys open up. So that's good. That's good to know. And then, I think we're starting to see that with, it's not on our list today, but, Godzilla vs. Kong came out overseas. I think it's made the most amount of money since the pandemic. But, what's the competition really been like for them? So, that's good to go for that. And some of this other stuff going up means, we've got some normalcy, but, don't get too comfortable. Yeah, pump those brakes. But
Yes.
That means also spring has sprung, Mike. I mean, it's getting warmer here. There's a lot more light
for
out.
sure out here. Yeah.
Flowers are blooming. You know what it's like in this part of the country this time of year. So, it all feels good. Like everything's coming back to life. So thankfully, it's at the same time where we're getting out of winter and life is literally happening outside while this is going on.
Yeah, and a little quarantine PSA to everybody out there. It might be too late since we've already been in this pandemic for pretty much a year now. Make sure you're routinely starting and driving your cars around, or you may or may not discover rats inside of your vehicle chewing up your electrical lines. I learned firsthand experience over the weekend. But luckily, if they don't get into anything too important, it's a pretty easy fix. It's just a little annoying getting a tow truck. So that's my PSA. If you got a car in the garage that you haven't moved in a bit and you feel like maybe you're going to have to start going back to work here in a couple weeks, maybe go check and make sure that car's still working. So that's my PSA for all the folks out there.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's like that. What they say in the winter, if you're not driving in the winter, always go out and start your car up every couple days to make sure your battery's not dead too. I mean, I know you guys really don't have a winter out there on the West Coast like we do here, so maybe have to dust that off a little bit and go that route. This week, again, we always start off when to kick off the QuaranStream. Let's kick it off and get going because we got a hell of a news week this week actually, which is great.
Speaking about beautiful weather and the spring sprunging, even outside of a pandemic, I would do what I always do, which is stay inside and watch TV.
It's a lovely day to sit in the couch.
Because Chris and I are personified indoor cats, and this last year hasn't been too terribly bad for us because we get to be indoors all the time now. But I totally lost track of the release date on this one. We talked about it on the show, which is Robert Kirkman's Invincible. The comic book series has finally been adapted as an animated series on Amazon Prime, and we talked about some of the trailers that we've gotten, the huge voice cast.
We have talked about it, Mike.
Yes, the violence. What I'm trying to say is you don't realize really how talented the voice cast is until you actually start watching it. So the first 3 episodes dropped. I'm about 1.5 episodes in because these are surprisingly like 45-minute episodes. I thought for an animation, this would easily clock in at like 20 to maybe 30 minutes max, because I was thinking of, other adult kind of animated stuff, even over on Netflix, like Castlevania clocks in usually around like 30 minutes. So I was surprised, like you really kind of dig yourself in for a little bit while watching this show. And I want to say I've been having a really great time. The writing is really on point. It doesn't feel like somebody's writing for animation. It feels like somebody's writing to make the best story that they can, but the medium just happens to be animation, which is perfect because that's what animation is. It's a medium, not a genre in and of itself. So I've been having a great time. Amazing voice cast. Like an amazing feature for Amazon Prime is that X-ray view, right, where you hit pause and you get to see who the actors are on the screen. I've been pausing this show every 10 minutes because there's a new character all the time. I'm just like, oh, that's that person? That's that person? Holy crap. Like, it's amazing. And I think really that's the power of Robert Kirkman as well. I think, he's just really just rose the ranks, like just cranking out like Walking Dead show after Walking Dead show after Walking Dead show. And, I know there are other people involved as well, but, Walking Dead at its inception was his baby. So I think he just has so much like cachet out here in Hollywood that, when he inks a deal with a streaming service like Amazon, which has endless pools of money, they're just like, yeah, hire whoever you want. We don't care. We have the money. So it's really fun. It feels like a premium experience, but every once in a while it seems like the animation does lag a little bit with kind of the serious tone of the story that's being told at moments. Like, so it doesn't ruin the experience at all, but sometimes you're just like, oh yeah, they kind of had to cut a little corners during this scene, because there's a shocking scene at the end of the first episode. Like, this is the perfect type of setup where you'll want to start watching the second episode right away. So you'll be like, your eyes will just be like bugging out of your head at the end of the first episode. So give it a watch. Those red band trailers that we saw of like the blood and guts were real. They weren't lying. It's pretty gruesome. I don't know what this says about me. I don't know if I'm just a true red-blooded American, but like I get entertained by gruesome violence. I don't know what that means about my psyche, but if I'm seeing viscera and guts and stuff like that, even though I'm like, oh crap, wow, that looks awful, I just can't look away. It's like a train wreck, but it's great. A train wreck in a good way. Lots of blood and guts on a train. Chris, I need to stop. Someone's gonna commit me here.
It's fine. So the first 3 episodes dropped on Friday. On Amazon Prime, and there are 8 episodes for this first season. Now, in case anyone doesn't know, Invincible is a comic book that started, I'm pretty sure, I want to say early 2000s. Let me pull it up here just to make sure. 2003, and it is complete. So I've not got a chance to watch this yet. I've been working on some other stuff. But I don't think they're going to tell the entire series, 144 issues in 8 episodes. So I'm very excited to see, how this lines up with the book and that time frame it kind of goes through.
It's a really fun world because it's basically kind of a take on a DC universe, but of Robert Kirkman's own invention. So you kind of get thrown into the world that's already kind of been established. Like, there's all of these different superhero teams that are already working. They already kind of have their Superman, Wonder Woman, Batman equivalents that have been like working for like decades and stuff like that. So it's almost kind of like picking up a comic book for the first time, like in the year 2021, and there's all of this lineage behind it, and you start reading it and you're just like, oh, there's so much backstory around this one character in this one panel, because there's like decades of issues about this one character, and I'm just getting like this little bit of character out of this little dialogue bubble. So it kind of feels like watching Invincible, like, oh, this is kind of cool. Like, instead of like starting something from the ground up, Robert Kirkman was just like, let's just make a world that has just been around and we'll just throw people into it. So it's been pretty fun.
Yeah, I'm excited to see that. And we'll talk more about blood and guts here in a little bit, Mike. So clock us both in.
But next up, a brand new movie that landed on Netflix called Bad Trip, which really entertaining. We just finished watching it before we jumped on the podcast here. This is Eric Andre's prank movie. So I guess the best way to explain this is imagine like a Borat-esque scenario where you have your main characters who are going through a fictional story, but the fictional story plays out in front of real people, and then they capture their reactions. It's really, really fun. It's about a road trip of 2 friends going from Florida to New York, and then along the way they kind of stage these human interactions and get these people's take on what they're doing, and it's just really, really fun. It's actually kind of heartwarming. You know, I feel like in the even though I really liked the Borat movies, they're usually trying to pull the worst out of people, right? You know, they're trying to be like, we want to see if we can really show your racist face when we put like this brown Middle Eastern man in front of you trying to do wacky stuff that you don't understand. But in this one, it's almost like Eric Andre is like, he just had a fight with his best friend and he's crying and he's just going down the sidewalk trying to find somebody to confront him, and then they find somebody and he's just like, oh, come on, man, I just lost my best friend. No, it's funny watching these people trying to react to this ridiculous man doing ridiculous things. But stay through till the end and watch the credits, because they did exactly what I wanted them to do, which I haven't ever seen in a Sacha Baron Cohen movie, where they show what happens when the camera stop rolling. So like after they pull off this huge prank where they get everybody's reaction, you know, and then the story moves on, what actually happens is somebody comes out with a clapper and says, haha, you guys are all in a movie. And then everyone's like, oh, they all just react. So you get to see the little montage of all those moments in the credits. That just, it's so satisfying to watch after you just saw the movie.
So officially the cameras didn't stop rolling. It's the part after the director yells
yes,
cut.
Exactly.
Because I'm like, what are they doing? Is there like some sort of, they set them down afterwards? So that makes more sense. It's the, haha, you know, what is it? What was it on Family Guy? He's like, "Ha, you just got kicked in the nuts," kind of thing.
Yeah. So it's like you're getting that satisfying moment from Punk'd back in the day, where they come out and like, "Oh, we got you," but you get it all at the end in the credits. So, Bad Trip. I would recommend that one as well over on Netflix. I think it's less than 90 minutes. Actually, it might be like 87 possibly. So it's a super quick watch. Give that one a go. And then something that I wasn't expecting to do over the weekend was, I guess, congrats to the marketing department over at Amazon. I was just scrolling through my Instagram feed and I got an ad for Amazon Luna, which is something that I don't think we've ever talked about on the show necessarily, but we've talked about it just in passing in group chats and stuff, which Amazon Luna is their version of Google Stadia, video game streaming over servers, where you don't have any of the hardware yourself. You're sending commands to their server, and they're sending you the feed of the video game that's over there at one of their data centers.
Yeah, this is the same as NVIDIA's GeForce Now, and Xbox has a version for Android to do their stuff. So yeah, essentially, you're just getting the live feed of the video and controlling it on their computers pretty much. As if I told Mike, come play my game, and he just watched the video.
Yeah, so I clicked on the little ad and it said, "Oh, sign up for our early access." So I was like, "Yeah, I'll give it a shot." They made it really easy. I didn't really have to enter a lot of information because I'm already logged into my Amazon account, so that made things pretty simple. And then it's just like a little survey, and then it takes a day or so to find out if you get access. So I got access to it, and it was free for a week. So yeah, I decided to dive in. The first thing I played was just like an 8-bit side-scrolling Sonic game, because I was like, okay, if these servers can't even handle a 2D Sonic game, things are just going to go bad really quick. So I played like one level. There was only one brief little hiccup, but the game was still totally playable. So I was like, okay, at least they got the lowest common denominator going. And then I decided to play something that was a little bit more beefy, which is a game I've wanted to play for a while called Control. I don't really know the studio that makes it, but I know it was a fairly popular game. And it's a game about like some sort of like weird, like kind of FBI-esque agency that's also dealing with like not paranormal. I don't know if they're something to do with other dimensions. I don't know. I didn't make it super far into the game, but this is where I experienced definitely some hiccups for sure. At some points it made the game a little unplayable, but most of the time I was able to move around and kind of explore the environment. I was seeing a lot of hang-ups when I was going like in and out of menus, which I thought was kind of interesting. So if I was trying to pull up my inventory and look around, as soon as I closed that menu, it would jitter for a couple seconds and then I could get going. So I don't know exactly what kind of like compression or algorithm they're running over there. I don't know if that type of interaction affects it, but it looked really, really good. I mean, the one thing that I could say is I guarantee that if I bought Control for my PS4 and I slid the disc in and started playing it, I bet fidelity is better playing on my computer because I'm running off of a super primo Amazon server is better than my PlayStation. So I tried to experiment, because I was just playing on my MacBook, which is cool because not like my MacBook could ever play any of these games. And then I tried to set it up on my iPad, but it wouldn't really work because I couldn't get my PlayStation controller to connect to Luna, even though I could get my PlayStation controller to connect Bluetooth to my iPad, and it said it was connected, so all signals were good, but I just couldn't get it to connect to the iPad app. And it's not even an iPad app, it's an iPad progressive web page because, Apple doesn't want people doing game streaming on there, so you have to do their special browser window thing.
As much as we have Apple products, I fucking hate that limitation. Like that.
Yeah.
I mean, we can't do Luna, we can't do what was the other one you said earlier?
Stadia, you
can't do Xbox. So like, no, you can make a web app.
I do have to say though, the progressive web app went extremely smoothly, right?
Yeah.
At first, it just opens up in a normal browser window, and then it says, "Oh, tap this button to add the shortcut to your desktop, and or to your iPad desktop or whatever." And then you did that. But one thing I didn't realize with these progressive web apps on iOS is when they open up, it doesn't open up your Safari window, and you see different tabs, and like, oh, I can tab over to Luna, and then I can tab back over to CNN or whatever. It opens up its own standalone window that's kind of not connected to your current browsing Safari. So it actually does feel a lot like an app experience. And I had no complaints. The scrolling was smooth. Everything was really, really smooth. So no complaints there. Really, it's just like they just need to get it to work. Just the core function of streaming a game. And it seems so close. It's so close. It's almost there. But I could not in good conscience pay for what's there right now because it's just not 100%. Now, who knows, maybe this early access will give them additional information and then they'll be able to smooth it over. And honestly, I can't even tell you why I decided to try this out, and I didn't try out Google Stadia back in the day because it seems like they're roughly comparable in ideas.
Because you already have, because you use Amazon every day. I mean,
yeah, honestly, that could be it.
Like I feel very comfortable. So Mike got the beta first, so I hit request access, so I got it like the next day, and I haven't done anything with it, but like I didn't have to log in to see. I just open up Amazon and boom, here it is. Like I'm like click Luna, so I'm like, okay, so I'm gonna give this a try myself, but I'm gonna try with a wired connection. Hardware,
give it a shot.
See what I can do on that.
I would say about maybe once every 5 or 10 minutes I get a little pop-up in the upper right-hand corner that says, oh, connection issue. But like I have a pretty decent connection. I pull at least 200 down very easily. And we don't really have internet outages over here at all. So I'm guessing it's just the persistent connection that they really rely on. That's really important.
What's your ping? Mike?
Oh God, I don't even know what my ping is. I could
Yeah.
check it out. It's not bad. I know.
No,
it's not bad.
I'm just kidding. I mean, you're out literally in California where these Amazon servers are probably like 2 blocks over.
Yeah, the data doesn't have to flow too far. One thing that was kind of annoying is it's very similar UI to Amazon Prime in the way of you don't really know if you can play it until you click on it, right? Because if you're looking through Amazon Prime, you got to pay really close attention to the headers of just like, oh, is this an Amazon Prime video or is this something that they're going to charge me $4 to rent? And you're not 100% sure until you click on it. And this is very much the same way. Like I thought I was going to be able to dip in, maybe play one of these new Far Cry games I haven't played in a while, or maybe go back and play Far Cry 2. But it's like, no. You need the extra special Ubisoft subscription. So it's just like if you wanted to watch something on Showtime on Amazon Prime, you need the Showtime subscription on top of it. So really, if you're just trying it out for free, you just have to stick to the Luna Plus kind of section of games.
And Luna Plus, it's only at what, $6 a month right after the
I think so.
trial?
It's fair. It's not exorbitant.
And I think the difference is why I think we talked about this when Stadia first came out. You have to buy the game to play it on Stadia. So you'd have to like shell out, if you wanted to play Control, $40 to $60 to play Control rather than just jump in and be like, because I think having this, if you had to like, okay, Mike, you can do this for $40. You had a game you're going to play $50. You have to buy that game, or you can join our package for like $15 a month. Play it and then cancel that package if you don't want it. Like, I think that's why Amazon's a little better. Like, even if if you wanted to try this the Ubisoft, maybe you got like free code for a week or something. Like, yeah, I'd try free code, but like buying a whole game is like, and then not having it if that service goes away, it's kind of like a nightmare for digital media.
But even with these little hiccups, even if Amazon can't pull it off, and technically Google Stadia is not dead yet, even though they're having some game development issues, even if Google doesn't pull it off, this is going to be the future at some point in time, right? Just like CDs turned into streaming, just like DVDs and Blu-rays turned into streaming, eventually the data is going to catch up to video games, and this will undoubtedly be the future. Who knows if the consoles are going to be able to pull it off, what is exactly going to happen, but it's going to be game streaming. Like it, the disk drives are already coming off all of the consoles eventually. So it's whether or not you won't even know it's going to be happening in the background. Sometimes you're going to pull up your console, you're going to go, bam, I want to play Mortal Kombat 14 right now. I don't know what's happening in the background. Maybe it's downloading packets or not. Maybe it's streaming directly from the server. Maybe it's doing a little bit of both, Maybe it's just pulling some graphical information and then I'm streaming a bunch of other stuff. So maybe it's a mixture of both to kind of save on hard drive space. But this will undoubtedly be the future in some aspect at some point in time. So if you want to just kind of experience it a little bit ahead of time, I guess go sign up for the Amazon Luna beta. You just Google it. I don't know what the URL is.
Yeah, if you just type in Luna, you'll probably be the first one. Amazon will own that.
But Chris, before Mortal Kombat 14 eventually comes out into the universe, so can you tell these people about Mortal Kombat 11?
Yes. So because we have a new Mortal Kombat movie coming out next month, my renewed interest in the Mortal Kombat franchise is at an all-time high. And what's cool is, Mortal Kombat 11's been out 2 years, but they finally released, they've been releasing DLC very consistently, and they'll do so up until the next game, but they put it all in a little package called the Ultimate Edition. And I was able to snag that online pretty fair price and played it with a friend of the show, Quentin Parker, on Friday. And what I found is I suck with all the new characters, but I'm really, really good with the classic characters because, growing up, Mortal Kombat, I had a Sega Genesis. I did not have a Super Nintendo. So my, what games would you get for a Genesis, right? Well, Mortal Kombat was a staple franchise. So I had Mortal Kombat 1, and despite my grandmother's protest, we would always take it over to her house when we had to stay there and play Mortal Kombat for hours on end. I don't think I ever got a fatality in that game, ever, growing up. But then, Mortal Kombat 2, 3... did you ever play the Mortal Kombat trilogy at all, Mike?
No, I've never really been a big fighting game type of person unless it's Smash.
Yeah, and that's I don't think I'm much of one either, but like that was my jam. So we had trilogy actually for PC. It was like one of the first like it's not a high end PC game, but it was like a very encompassing PC game. And ever since then, I've dabbled in like Deadly Alliance and the other games, here and there, and had a really good time. But I skipped on. I played 10 on my brother-in-law's. I borrowed his for a while, but I skipped 11 until now. We got to play it. And what's really cool is Mortal Kombat is one of those franchises. Like right now, we're dealing with the 11 deals with time travel. So you're dealing with like classic versions from Mortal Kombat 1 versions of your characters, and also these new ones 25 years later. Because in-game time is the same amount as real-world time, so that's kind of fun. But the other fun fact about Mortal Kombat is they can take characters from other franchises or properties and just throw them in there and not have to explain to you why they're in there, right? Like it's a fighting game. So we've got Rambo, we've got the Terminator, we've got Spawn. I'm trying to think. There's the Joker is in here, right? Because what's a DC game without a Warner Brothers game without the Joker?
Unlike Super Smash Brothers, it's not the anime Joker from that one anime that I don't know what it is.
The game is it Persona? Or
Persona,
like
yeah. It's a DC Joker.
Yeah, DC Joker, and
the laughing clown.
Exactly, and WB owns the Mortal Kombat franchise, so that's why they can put it on HBO Max. But also they made the Injustice games, which I enjoyed. Their Mortal Kombat kind of base games. So Injustice, and then was it Mortal Kombat versus DC Universe way back in 2010 or 2009 even. So Mortal Kombat 11 has been really fun. I just started the story mode today. They have what we'll call a next gen upgrade, I guess, a 4K pack. So on my Xbox X, I can literally just I click download 4K assets, and it's like, okay, next time you log in, you're gonna be playing the high def version of this game. So
nice.
Been really fun. I think it's fun. It's brutal. It's gory. They have these moves where you just pull the triggers when you're at low health, and if you connect, it's called like a fatal blow or something like that. It doesn't really kill the other person, but like it's gory as hell. There's blood splatters. There's, knives going in the skulls. Like, you're taking, like, it's not realistic, but because you're taking damage that would kill someone, right? Like scorpions, like little blades through the face, but then you're just back up fighting the next round. Like, you're not missing your face. It's fun because they embrace the brutality of this, but it's also, it's not realistic, but it's Mortal Kombat. What can you do? And then I found out there's in-game currency, like when you play more, you get like the in-game currency, whatever. You can buy easy fatalities. So like holding like left trigger and pressing a button will do a fatality, so you don't have to memorize all those other ones, which has been fun because I got to use a couple of those against a friend of the show, Quentin Parker, and he wasn't too happy. But you too. It's fun. It's fun time. Now he had a good time. We had a really good time playing that on Friday. Let's flip the script a little bit, Mike. Let's jump into the QuaranFeast here because we haven't done this in a minute. Yeah, we haven't done this in a hot minute.
Yeah, I was at the store over the weekend and wandered into the holiday candy section and lo and behold found the lemon Kit Kats.
And you bought the big bag of these, right? So
yeah, I guess big is subjective. It doesn't feel very big
because I bought those tubes that like candy cane shaped at Christmas time with the kisses in it. I bought one of those with like 5 of these in it.
Oh, okay. Well, man, you're definitely going to want more than 5 because these are banging. These are so good. I love the crisp tartness of the lemon, and as everybody already knows, we already like Kit Kats. These are great. These are wonderful. Almost to go as far as to say they're refreshing because of all the citrus. But to flip the script, I understand some people might hate these things, like my wife, because she already doesn't like wafer-based candies, so Kit Kats are off the table for her entirely. And she doesn't like lemon-based desserts either. So I was like, are you sure you don't want one? She's like, no.
So I don't have to could make a right. I don't know.
So I don't have to share these at all. So that's very great. Did you jump into your candy cane yet?
I did not, because I got it before we were doing some stuff around the house, some outside stuff this weekend. But I did end up buying some other stuff. We'll talk about it here in a little bit, though. I haven't got into it yet. But that's good to know that you're in love with them, but your wife isn't. You didn't really give me that tip. So now, I'm excited.
And these are the U.S.-based Hershey Kit Kats, not like the Nestle ones that are over in Japan. They've probably had lemon Kit Kats for like decades or centuries already. We're just getting these new flavors in the last couple of years. And I was trying to find their discounted candy because back in February, I missed the raspberry Kit Kats, which they've been releasing, I think, for maybe about a year or two now. Those are really, really good. I love those.
Yeah. I got a package of those, and then we were like, and everyone at my work, I think they had some. They really enjoyed them as well. So.
Yeah, so those are great. So we obviously know you come to the Superhero Slate podcast to hear us talk about snacks. So next up, Pepsi Mango is back. I didn't realize it. It came out a few years ago, but now it's back and here to stay.
I didn't know it was back. I didn't know it left.
Yeah. So now it's here to stay, and I got the zero version of it because I'm a no sugar boy over here. So the Pepsi Mango Zero is delicious. I drank it while I watched the first episode of Invincible, and I had a great time. So Pepsi Mango Zero, I think should be right up your alley if you like mango. There is a Diet Coke mango out there that I would say it's comparable, but since Pepsi kind of has more of a sweeter edge to it in general, you get even more sweetness to it. So it could be clawing maybe to some people, but I really enjoyed it. So Pepsi Mango Zero, and that's what I was nibbling on this weekend, Chris.
I don't like mango, so I don't think I'm gonna. I'll try one, but I'm not looking forward to it. If I'm gonna be
well, that's all we ask, Chris. We just ask that you try.
I'll try it. So instead, I went the other way, and I saw today the strawberry ice cream Hershey Kisses. And most people, whether you like it or know it in the show or not, I don't like chocolate as much. I will do the Kit Kats. I love the extra flavors, but when it's pure chocolate or way heavily in chocolate, I just don't dig it. It's not my thing. So I always go for the white chocolate candies, right? Like, and strawberry ice cream Kisses are perfect. They taste like strawberry, like the Nesquik powder so much. They have little crunchies in them, like the candy cane Kisses do. Like so they have something there that's like strawberry flavored little sugar crystals, so you're getting a little texture in there as well. They all come with little ice cream cones on the wrappers. I showed you. They're just fun. They really embrace the start of spring and summer where you're gonna get ice cream. I could totally see Dairy Queen embracing like a strawberry ice cream kisses blizzard and just throwing chunks of this in there completely.
So you can't turn the marketing part off of your brain, Chris.
I cannot, but I mean, I'm sitting there, I'm like, man, this would be good. You know what would go good with this strawberry ice cream kisses? Real ice cream, like real strawberry ice cream. So, if not, they don't, maybe I'll throw some in a blender and mix it up. But if you're looking for something a little sweeter, a little non-chocolatey, I totally recommend these strawberry ice cream kisses. I had like probably 10 before we hopped on the show. I was just mounting them down, and then I had to chase them with celery just in case. So I'm like, I'm not overdoing it here. Don't mix them together. All right, so we're here. We talk about superhero movies and new stuff. We're not just talking about stuff we saw and stuff we ate, but sometimes we do. But let's jump into this. First biggest news over the weekend is San Diego Comic-Con is coming back to town, Mike. They're keeping their virtual event, but they're having an in-person event the Friday and Saturday after Thanksgiving this year. So
big asterisks for sure, because I knew that this was kind of officially announced because I follow San Diego Comic-Con on Twitter, and I just saw a lot of clarification tweets after this kind of hit the news cycle. They're like, okay, everybody, we're glad you're excited, but this is not Comic-Con proper. This is just going to be like a little thing that happens over the weekend, a much lower capacity, and as far as I know, they haven't even really announced exactly what it's going to be.
It's a special edition. It's the Snyder cut of Comic-Con.
Yeah. So I don't know if it's going to be the full convention floor, if it's just going to be a couple of panels. I don't know. Maybe they're going to like take it back to their roots and really make sure there's lots of just comic book stuff in general. But maybe I'll go. I don't know. It sounds like it could possibly be easier to get badges for it since it's going to be a much smaller, shorter event, so there's less incentive to fly in from other parts of the world to go to it.
Oh, well, Thanksgiving travel is just a nightmare to begin with, right? Everyone's trying to go home.
That's right. Yeah, it's like, oh, sorry, I got to leave dinner now. I got to make it to this special Comic-Con event. But up here in LA, I'm only about like a 2.5 hour drive, depending on traffic down there. So I could pop in and check it out and then drive back home the same night. I've done that before for regular Comic-Con. So who knows? I have a feeling I'm going to be too full and swollen of turkey and bird to make it down to San Diego, but we'll keep an eye on this. I would be surprised if there's any big announcements, but who knows? Maybe they'll partner with some sort of media event, and we'll get something out of it.
They could. I think here there's 2 days. I don't know maybe what their lottery situation is going to be like this year, if they're going to have to really strip that back a little bit. So. We'll definitely keep this on the ears, but like it just popped up yesterday, I think. They were like, we're doing a special edition Comic-Con. I'm like, that's weird. But yeah, it's fine. It's whatever. If you want to go, when you got to go, you got to go, man. So yeah,
this would be like maybe like 6-7 weeks after New York Comic-Con. So the news announcement kind of load, if you will, might be blown in New York before this one rolls around.
If they even do conventions ever again, like if they ever start doing because November was like, it was maybe November, December when they did the Marvel one, right? The Disney Plus panel where we got all the news we could ever want. And this is also 2 weeks before C2E2 this year. This weekend was actually supposed to be the weekend for regular C2E2, but they moved it to December 11th. So it's really weird they're pushing all the Comic-Cons to winter this year. But we'll see how that goes. Speaking of the Snyder Cut there, when I tried to drop that joke in there, the Justice is Gray edition of the Snyder Cut is now available on HBO Max. This is the black and white version, and I'm going to be honest, I saw the preview of this, and as someone who went to film school and tried to watch this from a technical point of view, this is a piss poor version of a black and white film.
Ooh, shots fired.
It's literally like black and white. Like when I think of was it the blood and chrome edition? I see blood and chrome. It's the black and chrome edition of the other ones. It's supposed to like make things like black and white isn't supposed to be just gray all over. Like this is literally a very, very muddied palette of black and white. And I included the preview here that I actually saw where I can't see what's going on in a lot of this because the contrast is way too turned up for a lot of it. Certain things don't pop as they should when they have color, or like if they're supposed to be like whiter in the focus of attention, you don't see it. And I'm gonna call the scene of Lois Lane at the Superman statue, that scene, because the background is almost as bright as she is, so it's hard to see where your eye's supposed to look. Is it supposed to look at the dark blacks and negative space of her jacket, or the lights behind her? And I'm just really, really thoroughly not impressed with this so far. Because the other version is nicer to look at.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with making a modern film black and white, but you know you just know that this was never intended to be black and white. It's not like Zack Snyder sat down, started like, putting note cards up on the wall, plotting out Justice League, and he was just like, oh yeah, I really feel like this should be black and white. This honestly just seems like a DVD bonus feature, right? A Blu-ray bonus feature that you might have gotten, but instead it's on HBO Max, so now they get at least another day of news cycle out of it. Like this is like really the last hurrah, I feel like, of the Justice League, until like an executive over there kind of hints that they might be developing something.
If you scroll down, literally the next tweet in the previous tweet from the Snyder cut, feed is the color version of the trailer, and I'm like, oh, I can see what that is. But for a movie that focuses so much on fire and the color orange for the villain, this preview literally cuts all of that out in black and white.
We now have 3 different color graded versions of this movie. We have the Joss Whedon bright colored version, the Snyder desaturated version, and now he went full desaturated, which I know technically black and white movies aren't just cranking down the desaturation bar, but that's kind of the joke. It's like we have 3 different colored versions of this. That's insane.
I feel like this is a situation where the desaturation bar could be turned down because of how quick of the turnaround was, right? Like, this movie was like, if they were really wanted to make this feel like a proper black and white film, they would have done this in 6 months, right? Or 3 months down the road when the actual physical version comes out, because this just doesn't feel like a week later. It's like, yeah, we just cranked it down and it looks muddied now. So I'm not thrilled about it, but there may be some people out there who really, really want to watch it, and that's fine. You can watch it on HBO Max if you already got your subscription for the month. The other part of that thing, as we joked about, this movie's Zack Snyder loves his slow motion, and someone went through and tallied up how much slow motion this movie is actually there, and it is 10.35% of this movie is in slow motion.
Chris, I just did the math. That's 25 minutes. You could have shaved 25 minutes off of this movie if it wasn't all speed ramped. Now, I'm not saying that you should get rid of all speed ramping in all movies, but like, man, I felt it. I so felt it over this 4-hour cut. We all could have expected it. We all saw him do it in 300. I liked that movie too, and there's lots of speed ramping in there. So I guess it's just kind of like his, like Michael Bay likes his big sweeping circular shots. Snyder just likes his speed ramping. So when that zombie movie drops on Netflix here shortly, keep an eye out for a lot of slow motion.
There'll be slow motion kill shots all over that. Wasn't there a slow motion shot in the trailer going through the casino with the money flying up slowly?
Oh yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. So 100% agree with that. So if you love your slow motion, I think there's parts of this where you take. I don't consider the Flash scene slow motion because that's his ability, and I don't think they did either. So if you take the Flash into a little more consideration, you could probably see much worse, but. It's fine. We beat this dead horse. We'll move on to another dead horse we've already beat several times. No. Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice. Just so everyone knows, the 4K version came out this week, and I believe it's on Blu-ray, but I believe you can stream the 4K version now on HBO Max, which is like one of maybe like 5 movies they have in 4K there if you have a 4K player. Mike, you upgraded your TV. You have a 4K player.
Yes, I do. I'm not going to watch this.
Oh, you're not going to go check it out? No? Okay. Well, that's fine then. Maybe it's... I don't even know if it's the regular version. It's probably the special edition. But, it's kind of a PSA. It's out there if you want to watch it, and so be it. The Flash movie's got some casting announcements for us. We knew that Billy Crudup would not be able to film the Flash movie due to some previous... commitments to that being things, but Ron Livingston, the main actor in Office Space, if you remember that.
Oh yeah,
he's also been on Boardwalk Empire and a lot more other stuff lately, but everyone knows him as the main guy in Office Space. Will be playing his dad, Barry Allen's dad. Is it Henry Allen? I think.
Yeah, I get him confused a little bit with the actor who plays Coach in Friday Night Lights. He plays coaches in lots of things. They have a similar vibe going on, but. Yeah, that's fine. I don't think anybody is gonna be crying over this one. Not saying that they hated the previous actor, but it's just like this universe is barely established as it is. Well, recast whoever you need to.
He had a scene in a prison cell. That's it. So he played it on the other side of a glass twice, and that was it. So not really a lot of screen time here. But they also did confirm. Kiersey Clemens, who played the Iris West in that very, very drawn out hot dog scene in Justice League, will actually be returning to play Iris West. They didn't know if they'd bring her back or not. It wasn't anything heard because she technically wasn't in the theatrical release, so they could recast her, but they've asked her to come back. So that's good for her to do that. Shazam: Fury of the Gods. I'm kind of excited to see what the Shazam sequel does. Right? They've cast actress Helen Mirren as Hespera. And you might be saying, who is Hespera? I asked myself that question. Apparently, she is the daughter of Atlas, which is the first A in the word Shazam, because each one of those is like an old god. So she'll actually be the daughter of Atlas and a villain in this upcoming movie. So,
she's no stranger to the comic book movie. She was in Red, right?
Yeah, Red too.
That movie is so bizarre. Like, didn't that like take off like recently? Like, it was like in the charts again, like in the recent future for some bizarre reason. Like, people are watching this movie again. I don't know if maybe it landed on a streaming service and it was like in their top 10 or something like that. But she knows how to mess around with some special effects. So
she shot guns before. So, I mean, to be completely honest, I think Red's a fun movie. Because like it's one of those popcorn thrillers, right? Like, when you remember, like, what was that? The Shoot 'Em Up. You ever remember those? Like the bullet hell movies. Like, it's got actors doing stupid stunts because that's what spy movies have evolved into. I think the first Red's fun, but not Red 2. Not at all. But I think it sounds like if they're going to be dealing with the descendants of the people who Shazam, maybe they're the gods that have the fury in this. I don't know. Like,
all I know is I love the first Shazam. I love that movie. It's one of the best movies in the DC current universe right now, and I hope the sequel is just as good and everybody realizes how good that first one was.
Yeah, exactly. And in case you guys were wondering, I did my research earlier on this because I was like, is Atlas even in the name Shazam? And I'm pretty sure it was. It's Solomon, Hercules, Atlas, Zeus, Achilles, and Mercury. So we'll definitely see what's going on with that. It sounds fun. I mean, Wonder Woman touched on old gods. There were some what was it? Zeus, I believe, was in the newest Justice League, right? Like, he was.
I think we believe. I believe. Who knows? Maybe they'll bring back that same actor who played Hercules in that flashback scene.
And I think the fun part about Shazam would be diving into the history of the character, right? Like, we don't know anything about him, so. Try to get that going. It definitely do it better than Wonder Woman did with this history of this mystery rock that gave people powers, because that was no fun. This is the meat of the episode here, Mike. I'm going to be honest with you. The Suicide Squad. We got our first trailer for this film out of nowhere, I believe. Right? It was on Friday. James Gunn's like on Thursday, like, trailer tomorrow, and everyone's like, oh my god, red alert. Put down the notifications, and we got the Suicide Squad trailer, Mike, and unsurprisingly, but kind of surprisingly, the first trailer they dropped is a red band trailer.
Yes.
It is an R-rated film. I don't know if that means every trailer. I don't think every trailer is rated R, just the green ones rated. Like, the green ones are rated for television and stuff, but there's not even a green band version of this trailer out there.
I love this trailer because it starts off, you would think, oh man, superhero movie, Suicide Squad coming back, this full A-list cast, really going to strike. Let's have the first thing, they're all in like their vacation clothes in like a van, like
in a bus going down to save Harley Quinn.
It's so great because it's just like you see like Rick Flag and everybody, like he's wearing a toilet seat on his head. Is that what they said Peacemaker was wearing?
Peacemaker, yeah. I mean, they set up the dynamic of these characters, so they're like, yes, we're on a mission, but we're going to give you shit the whole time we're doing it.
Yeah. And this is the thing that was really missing, right, from the kind of the teaser-esque trailer that we got for the Suicide Squad back during, Fandom?
It was the HBO Max trailer, I guess. Kind of thing.
And the thing that James Gunn loves doing, especially with his ensemble cast, it's the banter, it's the back and forth, right? And we get a bunch of that in this trailer, and it's just all great. It's all wonderful. It actually made me excited for the Suicide Squad game that's going to be coming out, because I felt like a lot of that similar banter was in that game trailer as well. So it seems like this kind of new reboot of the Suicide Squad, just all over the place in video games, in movies, is going really, really well so far. I'm loving everything that I'm seeing. It just looks great.
It does. And what's cool is, I don't know if it's a soft reboot, that's fine, because they have Amanda Waller and Rick Flag returning, right, and Harley Quinn. And what's fun is, again, I get instant James Gunn vibes from this because two things. There's a scene where John Cena's rambling about the beach being a bag of dicks, and he had to eat all the dicks for liberty. He would, and I'm like, God, that's a Star-Lord that's a Star-Lord rant right there, right? Like written by James Gunn. And then
it really shows you a little bit more about Peacemaker too, because I thought when I saw that is this dude's getting his own show. So we're going to get hours and hours and hours of a character that's like that, and that made me excited.
Yeah, exactly. He's not the Captain America junkie like his description would kind of tell us like he is. He's got personality. He's not afraid to that. Idris Elba as his character, the hard-ass, kind of hard, like, black humor kind of thing was really fun.
Bloodsport, right? That's who he's playing? Yeah,
and there was that. But also, I believe there's very early on in this, there's a separate team that is assembling, right? That has Weasel and Savant, played by Michael Rooker, and what's that? The Saturday Night Live guy's name? Pete Davidson's in there. I think they die early. I think they're just gonna die immediately right out the gate.
Well, I mean, yeah, that's the thing that you got to do, right? Whether or not David Ayer's Suicide Squad, and don't even talk to me about the Ayer cut. Yeah. If you want to say it was good or bad, the one thing that you do have to establish to the audience is that these people are expendable. That is the whole point of the Suicide Squad, and that's why who is the grappling guy? What's his name that blew up?
Slipknot. Yeah,
Slipknot.
He throws a rope and tries to go away. I'm like, okay, yeah, that's it.
A weird way to kind of, the whole scene was kind of odd in general, but yeah, you got to show some of them dying to kind of set the tone and the scale of the film. So yeah, somebody's dying. Who's it going to be?
And none of those people are in the later team or the later shot. So I'm pretty sure that whole team is going to totally get wiped. I think Rick Flag's the one who makes it out alive, or they all try to run. I don't know. There's something there.
Not King Shark. I think King Shark, he's going to be around for a while.
Well, he wasn't in that first shot with that initial team there, but he'll be later. Now I think the whole thing here. We'll talk about King Shark in a second. Is maybe they're not killed. Maybe they're going up against this villain who is Starro, and maybe they get controlled by little Starro spores and come back as villains or people they have to kill or fight later in the film.
Oh, maybe. I mean, we kind of talked about the idea of maybe one of these spores gets on a hero, right? Maybe we get to see, maybe it's nobody quite the caliber of like Batman or Superman that will make a cameo in the movie. But that would be cool if we got to see a legit like DC hero. Like maybe it's like Power Girl or something like that. Somebody that hasn't been introduced yet, kind of gets controlled and they have to beat somebody like that up. That would be a fun twist at the end.
Yeah. But at the same time, we also get literally the large kaiju version of Starro in this as well. Like breaking out, looks to be in Cuba possibly. I didn't know this, but Starro was the first villain of the original Justice League when they got together in there for the first time.
Oh, all right.
And he may look like a large like starfish with an eye in it, but like he is apparently a very dangerous villain because his little spores attach to people's faces and they become under his control, kind of thing, like a hive mind, which is crazy. So I'm like, if you're gonna let James Gunn have anything and he asks for Starro in the Suicide Squad, you give it to him. You let him have it. But lastly, we got King Shark, and surprise, surprise, it's not Taika Waititi doing his voice. It's Sylvester Stallone doing King Shark's voice. And he is fun. He rips a dude literally in half, like an anti-Aquaman, because the waves were crashing behind him. He, what does he say? He said numbs, and then just eats a dude. Like, I thought they were going to cut when he, like, pulled the guy back, but they had like 4 or 5 bites out of him.
It's the Red Band trailer, man, and this is totally James Gunn MO for just kind of going through the roster of just actors that he loved probably when he was a kid. He's just like, you mean I can put Sylvester Stallone in my movie again?
Stallone was in Guardians 2 as a Ravager, so he's got to work because Stallone and the guy who played Michael Rooker, like I said, we're both in Cliffhanger. So he's like, oh, if I can get Stallone back, hey, Sly, go stand in a voice booth for us for a little bit,
Maybe we briefly talked about that Cliffhanger reboot. Maybe James Gunn will get to make it. Maybe he'll executive produce it or something like that.
Exactly. He's got the ties in here. But this trailer,
he obviously likes it.
He loves the actors in it, that's for sure. But this trailer was really fun. It was surprising. Again, I think there's going to be a lot of great action, a lot of humor in here, right? The characters look fun. They really have that quippy dialogue, and that's really a solid James Gunn piece. And I feel we're going to get a movie that he wants to make, not one that WB is going to come in and kind of take over here at the last minute. So I don't know. I don't have much else to say, but man, I was blown away by how cool this was, how fun it was.
Yeah, I saw a cool little tidbit that people were asking James Gunn on Twitter why King Shark's design has changed from the comic books, because he's more of a hammerhead shark in the comic books, and he was just like, oh, we tried that, but his eyes are too far apart, and you can't tell who he's looking at in the scene, so we had to redesign him. So I thought that was pretty cool. Like, yeah, we're trying different things. We're seeing what works, and we're testing.
Well, it's funny because my wife's nowhere connected to all the stuff that we are, but King Shark, King Shark, oh, he's from the Harley Quinn TV show, and he has the great white shark design in there as well, not the hammerhead shark. So kind of fun to pull there. And my wife I was very proud of her for pulling that one out. I'm like, oh yeah, you remember from that show, because I think that show, it doesn't get enough credit. It is funny. If you have HBO Max, you should go watch it. But I feel Harley, I don't think Harley's got a different voice than she did in Birds of Prey. I don't know if her tone was different. Nothing against her, but I feel like she was a little different. But I'm very excited for this movie. If I could be honest, looks fun. Looks really fun. Batwoman, the TV show. Kate Kane, who was played by Ruby Rose in season 1, was recast by Javicia Leslie, right, in season 2. And she was not coming back to the show. There was talks with producers being upset with her. She had a bad back injury, so on and so forth. It's mutual, whatever. Well, now they're bringing the character Kate Kane back into the show, and they've recast her with the character with the actress Wallace Day, because she quote unquote had profound surgery after a plane crash, so that's why she looks different now. I'm like, this is really, really a roundabout way of like saying we didn't want to bring Ruby Rose back.
Also, that's really strange, because I'm not familiar with the actress Wallace Day, so I looked her up here, and of course the first like articles that you see a lot of side by side shots of her and Ruby Rose, and she looks kind of already like Ruby Rose. They have similar face structure and everything. I don't even think you need to write anything into your story about them looking different at all. I think they look totally fine. Like anyone who's like a really big nerd of the show already kind of knows what's going on, so you don't need to explain it with like a plane crash. You could just do like a one-off. You could do like a one-off line of like, oh, did you get like a haircut? You look a little different, and then you just move along.
The plane crash was how they got rid of Kate Kane to begin with at the end of the season.
Gotcha.
And they were like, is she dead? Is she alive? We don't know. And so no one knew they were going to bring her back, but they brought her back with this actress. And dramatic face surgery. I'm like, good Lord, this is very dramatic for this show. But if people are watching, and we were talking about the CW before we jumped on there, if they've got their shows and they've got their ideas down, let them run with it, man. If it's working for them and they're getting their numbers they need to, so good for them. This news is for you, Mike. This news was written specifically for you.
Me?
Ghost of Tsushima, that game you've been playing. Chad Stahelski, who is the creator of the John Wickverse, writer and director, will helm the Ghost of Tsushima film for Sony Pictures.
Ooh, this is very interesting, because if you play the game, heavily influenced by classic samurai movies. They literally have a game mode called the Kurosawa mode, where everything goes black and white. The audio goes through a filter. Everything looks like you're playing an old school Japanese flick. And the story's great too. I mean, they took their time to really develop a really compelling story, and I think it would work very well on film, because it's a direct homage to those old classic samurai films. So if this is a way to kind of make a new version of those films, I'm all on board for it. I think it'll be really, really cool. Now, does the John Wick universe really come from a universe of subtlety? I don't know, and I would say kind of the game I played was kind of very emotional. So I don't know. The John Wick universe was like a fun, just kind of like action thriller to me, and I don't think Ghost of Tsushima was that at all. But I'm not saying that you can't pull double duty out here in Hollywood. You can't do something else.
The beauty of this is, if they want to not break the mold, they already have a story written. We don't need Chad Stahelski to write the story and the action. He can just take the story and then make the action look really good on camera.
Yeah. I mean, it sounds like we're going to get a lot of awesome, badass action. Kind of like a lot of samurai games that I've played over the last couple years. It's all just one big, complicated game of rock, paper, scissors, right? You're going up against your opponent. What are they about to hit you with? Select the appropriate response of whether it's like a shield or a sword or a heavy or something like that. So there's a lot of detail placed on sword combat in this game. And there's some other stuff that kind of breaks the realism a little bit, like some smoke bombs and grenades that I don't think they would necessarily have had access to back in the day. But yeah, it sounds like they'll take the action and swordplay of it very, very seriously, which is the funnest part of playing the game. So I'm down for this. This is exciting. It's also kind of based off of real historical events too. So they have a lot to pull from here from the story that, if there's a bit in the game that doesn't quite work for like a 2-hour movie, maybe you pull in a little bit of real history to kind of pad it out. So I'm excited for this. I'm hoping hoping Sony Pictures can pull it off, because how often do we talk about a Sony Pictures movie? Drake,
I say Uncharted.
Nathan Drake.
Yeah.
The Uncharted might be coming out. Like, I know it's like right on the cusp, but we're waiting.
That's the thing. I think this is I think maybe this might indicate Sony's confidence in Uncharted. Going ahead to work, like, okay, we've got another hit game on us. The Last of Us is in production, right? They're taking their hit games and like, maybe we can tap into other mediums with this. And if they're happy with it and they're happy with, Selesky and maybe they got really good writers, or the game writers are writing the script. We don't know that yet. It could be a knockout of the park. This would be the third one that we feel kind of good about, right? Like the other two, we were like, yeah, that's good vibes.
You got to nail that cinematography. The game is gorgeous, so the movie's got to be just as pretty.
Exactly, and I think for stylistic, I think John Wick has a style. When you see it, it's John Wick. Right?
Yeah, there's some pretty cool shots, and when they go into some pretty cool interior locations where they mess with like lighting and structures and everything. So
yeah,
I think we'll get something at least entertaining out of this. I think.
Yeah, knock on wood. Well, we'll see. Maybe the sequel will come out when the movie comes out too, Mike, because they got to be working on that. Flip flop into the Marvel part of the podcast here. MODOK, the upcoming TV series for Hulu, revealed some more of its voice cast today. Since we talked about great voice cast, it is added Nathan Fillion, who's actually in the Suicide Squad as Wonder Man. We did not know Wonder Man was going to be in the show. Whoopi Goldberg will be voicing The Stand. I don't know who that is, and also Ghost, the character from Ant-Man and the Wasp. Or no, she's in The Stand and Ghost as Pound Cakes. I don't know who Pound Cakes is. Sorry, I wrote these parentheses. I copied these. I'm going to be honest with you. Bill Hader will be Angar the Screamer. I don't know who this is, and the Leader.
All right.
And John Hamm from Mad Men or Baby Driver is Iron Man, who will be in episode 1's Iron Man.
Oh, that's cool. I didn't even know Iron Man was going to be in this.
Yeah, so I think we're going to see a lot of cameos in this. That's kind of it's free. It's kind of like, since this is Patton Oswalt, he's going to have a little bit more free flowing to kind of make this stuff. So hopefully they don't. If it's good, they don't cancel after the first season. So knock on wood. In the Marvel universe, rarely ever do we get leaks. And what's cool is these are non-spoilery leaks. We have some Phase 4 concept art that leaked on an account here.
Yes.
And there are actually 3 sets. The first one's here, but if you click on, I can get the other links real fast. But if you see it, we get to see some low quality Doctor Strange.
Very low quality. Wow.
Yeah. What's cool is you can't really see it right here, but like Doctor Strange, he has that like design on his shirt from like the comic books. It's kind of like it angles down like a Y on his shirt there.
Yeah, a little bit.
Wong seems to have a little bit more color to him. We get our first look at maybe Clea, who is rumored to be in Doctor Strange. And then America Chavez, Baron Mordo, and look who that is, the Scarlet Witch, finally showing up here in some of this stuff here. I mean, this is pretty good stuff here. I mean, I'm excited to kind of see this. I'm gonna go see if I can find the other ones because there's quite a bit down on this Marvel news, and it's I believe it's it's Spanish or Portuguese speaking Twitter account, so I don't know what they're saying, if I'm going to be honest with you. I
mean, that's where these leaks always come from, right? These random Twitter accounts that nobody knows about, and I found this grainy, low quality art off of the back of a cup that's supposed to be at AMC, and I took a picture with it with my potato phone, so I'm putting it on Twitter. Good luck.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm going to put the Miss Marvel one in here, Mike, for you, so you can take a look at that. I mean, this isn't really Miss Marvel one's not really that surprising. I feel you get to see kind of like some drawings and a sweatshirt, her outfit we kind of saw on the stage.
Yeah.
And then the last one is the Hawkeye link, which shows us just regular Hawkeye artwork, but also Kate Bishop, a Lady Ronin, and then also Yelena Belova from the upcoming Black Widow movie here. Concept art for the show.
Yeah, this is cool. Yeah, I'm curious. I mean, I love Haley Steinfeld in the Bumblebee movie, more recently in Dickinson. So I'm down to see her with a bow and arrow, man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm excited to kind of see the show. They've been filming a lot of it out in public, so I'm excited to kind of see them pick up with Hawkeye. And I know you're not. And you're not a big fan of it, but I've been playing the Avengers game. I just wrapped up Kate Bishop's story on Xbox. I'm about to kick off Hawkeye's, which is going to be really fun. So. One of his outfits is literally his main outfit is the cover from Matt Fraction's run, My Life is a Weapon. Mm-hmm. So fun to see the bandages on his nose and the big target on his shirt when you're playing. Feels comic booky. Speaking of Black Widow, this was it. This is what we were waiting for, Mike. This is what we've been waiting for a while. Disney and Marvel have announced that Black Widow will get a delay to July 9th. Release, but will be in theater and Disney Plus Premiere Access the same day on July 9th, which is great.
Yeah. I mean, so the big question now between me and you, Chris, is we have our vaccines fortunately scheduled out here. We know when we'll be fully vaccinated, when we'll be able to reintegrate back into society, into movie theaters. And by the time July 9th rolls around, I will be safe to go to a movie theater. I guess as safe as anybody can be out there in the world. So I think I'm going to see this in theaters, man. I'm obviously looking for a reason to get back to normal. Yeah. Even though I love the idea of Premiere Access and being able to watch it from home in the comfort of my own home. I mean, I suppose the decision's different. You know, if you have a family, if you have lots of kids, you know, you save money if you just drop $30 once instead of going to the theater and dropping like $12 per ticket, you know?
Okay, so I'm going to do both. And I will tell you why I'm going to do both. One, I don't know what theater seating is going to look like in by July, right? We were talking about, I was trying to go see Godzilla vs. Kong in a theater, but they're putting 2 seats in a circle around everyone, front, back, left, and right. So how many people could you theoretically fit into a screening of this movie, right? Like it may not be Friday night that I get to watch it, or Thursday night if they do this early. But it's, because what if they actually did the Premiere Access on a Thursday night, Mike? That'd be awesome.
I guess you could see it just like everybody else at midnight.
Yeah, but the beauty of this with the Premiere Access on top of that, because I usually go to a Marvel movie more than once, so rather than going to the theaters twice, I go to theaters once. I get Premiere Access because then I can watch it as much as I want.
Yeah, that is nice
on Disney Plus, because then I don't have to did I remember this correctly? Did I really like it? Do I need to go back and watch an action scene? Premiere Access lets you pause, rewind. Rewatch it, because we do show notes, right? We talk about these movies, and that'll be a great thing to actually have on hand for the first time ever. For a Marvel
I didn't
movie.
even think about that. I mean, Endgame was a big enough scale of a movie where I would have, of course, enjoyed to go back into a theater to see it multiple times. But yeah, if we saw Endgame on like a Thursday night, and I was just sitting at home on the weekend, it's just like, wait, I could just watch it right now again for $30 on my TV screen.
$30 unlimited versus $30 one-time fee.
Yeah. I mean, I believe that they've said that HBO Max has said that they are ending their kind of experiment of premiere movies at home on HBO Max this year. And next year, everything will kind of be going back to normal. So who knows really if Premiere Access is going to stick around at Disney, day and date of stuff. So this might be like a one-time thing that you get to experience this. But it seems like now that they've said it, Black Widow is not moving. Yeah. Like if there's another surge of the coronavirus, right, and everybody needs a brand new vaccine that hasn't been invented yet, God, I hope that does not happen. Yeah. But it seems like we'll be able to watch it on Disney Plus.
And again, that's America. Every other country's fine. Thankfully, so they're gonna get that. They're gonna get
not
that.
Brazil. I've seen some really bad headlines about Brazil.
Brazil, but I don't know if they're China and Japan and Australia. I think those markets are really primed to get this. They're gonna get on July 9th, and they're gonna go for it. So I'm excited for this. I think July 9th, we've got it now, and we have thankfully built a page where you guys can find all these updated release dates on superheroslate.com. Just up at the top, click upcoming movies and TV shows. I updated the minute we got the news so you could have it. So if you're wondering where all these release dates are and where everything now sits, it's there. And I update all the new changes in red because I know if Mike's looking at it, he's going to want to know what changed.
Yeah,
he
I
needs
have
to find out because he doesn't listen to this show, and I'm going to tell him that every time we talk about it.
I don't have to listen to it. I experience it.
Yeah, experience it. The other thing is, with that move, that puts Shang-Chi back to September 3rd. Now, this is in theaters, no premiere access announced with Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. Eternals did not move. Spider-Man did not move. So this means we're going to have a hell of a loaded back half of the year of movies, Mike, for Marvel. And right now, we'll talk about here in the next bit, but we're getting shows every week, so we're going to have a little bit of a downfall or a little bit of a lull through April and May, but that's fine. We're going to have a lot of movies to watch.
Is the Eternals still hitting in
Yes, November? Yeah, they didn't move it.
Man. Whew. This is going to be a fun end of the year, man.
Yeah, exactly. It's going to go real quick. So it's like July, August, September. Yeah, like every 2 months we're going to get one, and then Spider-Man's in December. So like it's going to be fantastic. I'm going to love it, Mike. I'm just going to love it. Now this is where MoviePass needs to come back, or like a theater with a subscription service, because I'm going to be going every month to watch these things as soon as they do. So there's that. Lastly, I just want to add this note here. Luca, the Pixar film, is going to Disney Plus on June 18th, no premiere access for free. This is the third Pixar film that has gone straight to streaming with no premiere access, which means it's probably doing great numbers for their subscriber rate on Disney Plus.
Yeah, I think it goes to show you, number one, Soul must have done really, really well at adding subscribers to the streaming service, because that was a great movie. I liked it, and it seemed to really move the needle over there to say, oh, the next Pixar movie, let's do that again. And number two, we talked about this a few weeks ago, how the streaming services are now kind of battling over kids content, because if you can get your kids addicted to the streaming network, you won't cancel your streaming stuff, because kids rewatch stuff, watch the same stuff all the time. They don't need a faucet hose of new content all the time, because they'll just keep rewatching the same movie.
And they've got muscle memory. They know how to get to that same app and watch that same goddamn thing over and over again.
Yes,
so
exactly.
When that's canceled, you have to find that. That's not our battle for you to go through.
Yeah, so I saw that there was this one narrative forming around a little bit where some people were just like, oh, Disney's not giving its due credit to Pixar films. They think they're not good enough to be in theaters. It's like, no, they think they're so good that they're driving numbers to Disney Plus. So that's a pretty cool sign that we won't have to worry about dropping a ticket price to see Luca.
Exactly, and I think it also there's two narratives I'm thinking here, Mike. One is, people watching Luca have one or more kids, right? That's a horrible nightmare experience at the theater. They probably weren't getting the numbers that they wanted on those animated shows for families. So like, this is a better investment for us overall. But two, all these changes means Disney has no faith in the summer movie market. I'm stealing that line directly from Dan Murrell, who does movie stuff. Like literally, they are putting their first theater and premiere access in July, and everything else after. Like September is the first hard theater thing. So they have no faith in the summer movie market coming back and selling tickets. So they're adjusting based on their numbers, and I think we can tell that right here. So good for them. Lastly, we're going to end our show here on the Falcon and Winter Soldier discussion, episode 2.
Man, I totally forgot about this until I looked down underneath our Luca show. I was like, oh yeah, Falcon and the Winter Soldier, that was this week, wasn't it?
I got to watch it last night. It was the last thing I did last night. That's how busy I've been. Normally, it's the first thing I do on Friday. It was the last thing I did on a Saturday.
I mean, the thing is, when you're really, really busy, you don't have to worry about coming across spoilers, because you're too busy to look at social media.
Well, the problem is, I'm doing this damn show and these show notes. I always try to do them early, so I keep them in my phone when they pop up, so I can just copy them into here and make sure I have everything. But episode 2 dropped this week, and I just want to say episode 1 was the Disney Plus's biggest premiere on their service last week, even going up against Justice League. Wow. I don't think it's getting the social traction that Justice League is getting, but I also think the fan base is less toxic here, unless because I mean, not to go back to this, but literally release the Snyder or restore the Snyderverse fans are review bombing Godzilla versus Kong right now. Why?
Doesn't
I don't
make
know.
any sense.
It's literally not a competitive thing. Like it's on the same streaming service. That's it. Like they planned this years ago or months ago. Like this isn't. I don't know. I don't get it. Anyway,
jeez, which fan base is more toxic? Justice League, Snyder, or Rick and Morty? God.
Rick and Morty, at least they have to take years between theirs for a break. But anyway, so we had the episode 2 of the Falcon Winter Soldier. Mike, how do you feel after the second one? compared to the first.
So I don't know. I feel like I'm starting to warm up a little bit more. Sam and Bucky finally are sharing screen time together, so we're getting a lot of that banter back and forth of them hating each other. But I don't know. Every once in a while, the writing seems a little odd to me. I can't really quite put my finger on it just yet. Everything just kind of seems a little off. Now, that doesn't mean that I'm not having a good time necessarily, but I feel like I haven't quite settled into the show yet. Now, I know we talked about that a little bit with WandaVision, how they were just kind of getting there, though. They're kind of getting to their reveal. They're kind of doing this kind of shtick and kind of building this kind of mystery. We don't really have any mystery necessarily in this show. Like, I thought it was going to be a bigger deal of like, oh, what's giving this one person that we've caught on a camera phone this superpower? And then in the second episode they say, oh, just the serum, it's back. Now there could be more of a backstory to it for sure that they'll reveal and stuff like that. So I'm enjoying some of the action set pieces. Now Wyatt Russell, I think he's playing a good U.S. agent. I like the character. I like how the episode started out with him, and we got to kind of see his backstory a little bit. Yeah. And he's not just a straight up antagonist. He's trying to be a good person, but he's working for the government and everything. So he kind of has that bit of kind of stank on him, if you will. Yeah. But they explicitly say he's not super powered at all, but he seems to be able to throw the shield like a very super powered person.
So let me say, I guarantee you he's super powered, and I guarantee you his little buddy Battlestar is also super powered. Okay, and that's going to be a reveal later.
Okay, now if they do that's great, because right now I'm a little annoyed because like I'm rewatching The Winter Soldier right now. Like we put it on in the background when we're like working out and stuff. And I tell you what, Marvel movies are, if you can't quite figure out what exactly you want to listen to during a workout and you have the ability to watch something while you're lifting or working out, watch a Marvel movie, because everybody in these films are so jacked. It just gets you so motivated to lift more and lift faster. Because like watching like Steve Rogers in that movie, you're like, okay, I can add an extra 5 pounds to this bar. I can do it. But besides the fact, so we're rewatching Winter Soldier right now, and the shield stuff that Cap does in that movie is so fun. When he lands on the ship at the beginning of the movie and he's taking covertly out all those people, bouncing his shield off the sides of the ship. When he's escaping the Triskelion and he murders that Quinjet, man, with that shield so artfully. It's so great. He's not even really using his super strength necessarily to punch the propellers. He's just throwing the shield with this artfulness and this speed that you believe truly only a super soldier can do it. So when they show U.S. Agent do it in this show, I'm just like, how? So I guess if you do reveal that he has some sort of serum in him, that explains the shield. But at the same time, wouldn't Cap or wouldn't Bucky or Sam go like, wow, you're really good at throwing that shield. We didn't expect a normal human being to be able to do that. I don't know. Maybe I'm looking too far into it, but that's like one of my favorite action set pieces that Steve Rogers can do, is the shield juggle and throw. And I'm just like, how can a human I don't understand how a human can do this.
Well, I think it goes into the reveal later that the government has been making super soldiers for just as long.
That could be possible. But you think he would be saying like, oh, I wish I could throw this shield better, or like, oh, I missed on purpose to prove to you that I'm not a super soldier.
Well, it could be. I mean, he is, again, it's vibranium. I think there's also a little bit of wiggle room, like what does vibranium do, kind of thing.
Yeah,
there's a little bit of wiggle room, but I think that the reveal, like why I think this is, they go to Isaiah Bradley, who's actually in the comic books the African American super soldier they made, but then hid from like the world, like they didn't tell anybody about him. And his son Eli Bradley, who's the Patriot, who's a young Avenger, who's also superpowered later on, but like, showing that government has been like, what was it, Vietnam War, where he fought Bucky and ripped his arm off, he said.
I thought it might have been the Korean War.
Yeah, and then like ripped his arm off. Like he is strong enough to fight Bucky right off and live, but also like that shows the government did not stop with the super soldier serum, and they had some work. If we refer back to the Incredible Hulk, that's a little bit of a where they were trying to mess with it as well. But they also mentioned the Carly Morgenthau, which is actually a female version of Carl Morgenthau, who was the Flag Smasher character in the comic books, which is this group, talks about the Power Broker. And the Power Broker's people show up in what look like government vehicles when they're chasing the airplane. So I think the Power Broker is somebody in the government, not Zemo, who was also revealed at the end of this episode finally in a very dramatic AF scene.
Yeah, it was weird that they tried to kind of like end the show on a cliffhanger showing Zemo, but Sam literally says, okay, let's go see Zemo. So it's just like, I feel like it would have been a little bit more dramatic if you just showed his face and not literally just said his name.
Yeah.
But either way, so I feel like I'm starting to warm up to the show a little bit, but I'm still just kind of like, okay, come on. If there's only 6 episodes, we only got 4 left. Like, let's get this going. Where's, I don't know.
I've heard there is some that's exactly what I heard. I don't know the details. Someone who could take on Thor in episode 4 shows up.
Oh wow!
So I think they're saving some of. I think they're saving some of this super soldier fight stuff for later on. Like maybe someone takes too much of the drug. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm a little confused exactly what the Flag Smashers are doing. So I know that they want to return the world to the blip because I guess there was more to go around, since I guess they liked what Thanos did exactly. But they seem to be moving boxes of vaccine around. Is that just a fake label and this is a superhero soldier serum that they're stealing? Because I'm like, what is the vaccine for? I don't understand. Are they haven't really said what they're doing with it, but not in like a mysterious way.
Well, are they also a splinter cell of the other Flag Smashers because someone's coming to kill her too? I don't. Maybe it's not a vaccine. Maybe it's super soldier serum labeled as a vaccine.
Possibly. So I think what I'm trying to get at here is I'm not necessarily mad at what's happening in the show, but they seem to be feeding us the information in like an unhelpful way, right? I don't seem to be getting it in an intriguing, like, oh, what's going to happen next? Like I'm being like piecemeal fed like different parts of a sandwich. Like, okay, well, here's the cheese. Here's a little bit of meat. Maybe I'll give you some bread the next episode. It's just like, well, I like what the sandwich is going to be eventually, but like maybe give it to me in a more logical order. Give me a piece of bread first. So when you give me the mayo, I have a place to put it. Like, what am I going to do with this mayo now? So I don't know. I hope it finds its footing a little bit. I would say slightly disappointed, but nothing's made me super mad yet. I haven't really rolled my eyes anywhere yet, which is usually a bad sign. As soon as I start to roll my eyes at something that I'm watching is when like things start to go downhill. So luckily we haven't reached that threshold yet. I think I was just hoping for a little bit more at this point in time, but I'll be here for episode 3. Let's see what happens.
Well, I think I'm actually happier with this one than the first one because we haven't really talked about it as much, is the Falcon and the Winter Soldier's interactions overall.
Oh, yeah, that's definitely makes things
once they're on
enjoyable.
the screen, you're like, oh, yeah, okay, these guys are acting the hell out of it, right? They're having fun. They finally have the couples therapy scene where they like get way too close with each other in the seat there. I'm like, this is what these two dudes would do 100% and hate each other's guts. So I think that was fun. And then also they spun me on the head there. I thought they were going to go down like this politically charged path when the police officers were like talking to them in the streets kind of thing. And they had a chance to do so, but they did so in like a reverse way where they ended up arresting the old white man instead of the other person. So I don't know. It's really, I am enjoying it more than the first one because I think that their interaction really sells it to me right now. But also, we got 6 episodes. We only got 4 left, which is sad. If these were like maybe 30-minute ones, I could probably see it going a little better. But I'm really excited to see how this kind of wraps up and where they set these two characters off into the MCU at large. So maybe they'll beat up Wyatt Russell and steal his shield later, like they talked about. We'll see.
Maybe. We're not even entirely sure if that is his shield. I mean, we have no confirmation of if they took that from the Smithsonian, what exactly happened.
The way it's operating and the vibranium and the hits, I think it is a real one. But yeah, we'll see how that goes. All right, Mike, that's the show for this week. We got it. We're wrapping it up. We're getting out of here. People want to know what you're up to. Where can they find you at?
Well, if they want to find me, I'm at Mike Royer Design on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. And you can read my webcomics at pickledcomics.com. Chris, if people want to catch up with you, where can they find you?
You can find me on Instagram, Valdan, Valdan, or Twitter, Valdan, Valdan. I'm sorry, I got this mixed up. Valdan87 on Instagram. So, yeah, you can find me there. People know more about the show, our reviews, everything else. Where can they find that at?
Oh, it's so easy. All you got to do is visit superheroslate.com. Head on over there to find our awesome upcoming release calendar that Chris diligently updates and keeps up to date. And it's just a nice little simple text-based list. You don't have to worry about any dumb pop-ups. We're not trying to grab your email address. There's no annoying ads that want you to buy Viagra or anything. Yes,
very
exactly.
lightweight.
Yes, that's what we want, because it's mainly a tool for us, so we want to give you the tool as well. So head on over to superheroslate.com to check that out. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Spotify, wherever else you love to listen to fine podcasts. Please like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter and Instagram, and you can get merch at superheroslate.com/store. We love hearing from you. Please reach out if you want us to talk about anything specific on the show. Are you watching Invincible? That just dropped. It's really, really fun. I think you should go watch it. Are you excited for the Godzilla versus King Kong spoiler cast that we're going to be doing next week?
Yes, I am.
I think we've both agreed that it's going to be a tie, and they're going to end up fighting Mechagodzilla. So stay tuned next week, where we're going to be talking about Mechagodzilla. I can almost guarantee it. So if you want to be a super fan of the show, all you got to do is share the show with a friend. Share the show with a buddy. Make sure you're getting vaccinated and stay safe until you get that second vaccine. I know that they got that Johnson & Johnson vaccine, but I think it does a little less good. So still, regardless, keep wearing your mask until everything's safe and back to normal. And we love you, and come back next week, everybody.
Yep, we'll see you next week.
All right, bye.
Thanks for listening, and don't forget to subscribe.
It's going to get warm down here in the Chattahoochee. I hear it gets hotter than a hoochie coochie.
Oh, my gosh.